We've all been there. I think you can probably relate. We're in the backyard, we're grilling or barbecuing some food for some family and some friends, and you're trying to pay attention to the conversations around you and, entertain your guest, and then boom, something horrible goes wrong. The grill catches on fire, you forget about the food and burn it, or something happens where you're just like, don't feel bad. It's happened to all of us, I promise. Today what I want to do is I want to give you my 8 barbecue hacks, my 8 grilling hacks, barbecue hacks, whatever you want to call them, my 8 hacks to make you a better pitmaster, to make sure that chaos doesn't go down, and all that's going down at your backyard barbecue is good food. So tip number 1 has to do with preparing to start your grilling or barbecue, and that's talking about grill brushes. There's been a lot of talk recently about this kind of grill brush, a traditional style grill brush. This one's a little better than others because of the metal doing a circle in there. And then the other style is the metal that does, it's just a little brush that sticks out. Now this is a silicone style, but the problem with this is the best time to, brush off your grates is when they're hot. And you can see what happens if you do that with this one. Now, there's all kinds of other wonderful products out there. And if you guys have a grill brush that you swear by, put it down in the comments. But what we're hearing about this style, the style with the metal bristles, is once in a while, and it's probably once in a long while, but it happens. These bristles get stuck to something on the cooking surface, and next thing you know, they end up down somebody's throat because they got stuck to the food and then they ate it, and then you got a metal bristle. I've heard some horror stories. So, let me give you a tip on what to do to not have to use either one of these guys. Cut an onion in half, use some tongs, and use the onion. Just get a good grip on it. And then you just kind of go back and forth. That works wonderful. If you don't have an onion, or you don't like the onion idea, take a piece of tin foil, kind of ball it up. Same thing, tongs. And as long as your grill is hot, this will work every bit as good as any grill brush. Could you imagine that somebody that came to your home, whether it was family, friends, or whoever, ended up having to go to the hospital to have emergency surgery to get one of those bristles taken out of their throat? They may be messed up for the rest of their lives. It's something we really need to consider. We don't want to keep a grill brush around. And a lot of times, if you're like me, you keep that thing until there's absolutely no bristle left at all on it. It's not the best idea. Use one of these other hacks and you'll be better off. You'll be a lot safer, and so will your gas. We're using a gas grill today. However, if you were using a charcoal grill, sometimes the hardest part for a lot of people is starting that fire. And they have some wonderful fire starter devices. You've seen them on my channel. I love a good fire starter. However, some grills and sometimes you have to go with alternative methods. You almost always have a paper towel available. And if you're cooking, you probably have some type of oil nearby. The thing about cooking oil is it burns nice and slow. So it's perfect for starting a little bit of a flame. And that'll sit there and burn like that for, I'll bet, 10 or 15 minutes. Now, I didn't put a whole lot of oil on it because I didn't want to be wasteful. But the more oil you put on there, the more it's going to do this. It's just going to sit there in a little ball and just kind of produce that nice flame. This is perfect for catching some small wood, some kindling, and getting that fire rolling, getting that charcoal rolling. The next hack is about getting that smoky barbecue flavor on your food on a gas grill, because a gas grill is the most common method for barbecue in the backyard. It's what most people worldwide have time for. We're so busy as a society that we're running around taking our kids here, there, and taking care of work and doing this and that and family. It's so much. And there's so much traveling. It's just so much time. that we just don't have a whole lot of time anymore to start some charcoal up and get a great barbecue fire going. But that doesn't mean that we can't have that smoky barbecue flavor when we're cooking on the gas grill. Let me show you a couple methods. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a Weber Summit series, they come with this smoker box right on the side with its own burner. You put your wood chips in there, you go ahead and light the burner, and immediately you're gonna get some smoke. And guys, let me give you a tip within a tip. Don't soak your wood chips. Wood smokes when it burns. Go to AmazingRibs.com and he'll have an excellent scientific explanation as to why you don't soak your wood chips. Don't soak your wood chips, guys. You're defeating your own purpose. The one thing I'd say about this is that it tends to be hot and fast. So you're gonna get a lot of ash quick and have to keep refilling, and it's not the most efficient. Option number 2 is a pellet tube, and this is my preferred method. You buy a $20 or $30 pellet tube, you can put it right on the grates like this, use a torch to light the end of it, and you're gonna have wonderful smoke. Option number 3 is a good old-fashioned wood chip box. They sell these everywhere. This is a great option. It works fairly well. The thing I'll say is that, it just kind of burns unevenly and it's not as controlled as the pellet tube, but it will definitely work. And again, don't soak your wood chips. Option number 3, and this is one of my favorites because you can kind of get a better control than you can that box, but a piece of tinfoil. And then you can kind of change the shape of that tinfoil to make sure you get a perfectly even burn. It's the cheapest method and it works really well. One of the most commonly barbecued food, especially with kids, is hot dogs. And they're simple enough, right? Just throw them on the grill, and some people like them really dark, some people like them hardly dark at all, and some people like them so burnt that it doesn't even make any sense. But let me give you a little tip on how to make a hot dog, get the most out of it that you possibly can. And that comes from the idea that Gordon Ramsay always says, no color, no flavor. And to get more color, you need more surface area. So this is one that I learned from my mom. She used to do this, and she would fry them in a pan. You can do it, on the grill, in a pan, whatever. Just slice it right down the middle a couple of times, being careful not to go all the way through. And then you just take your thumb and kind of open it up like that. And then you can get some more surface area like that. So you stick it down on the grill just like that, okay? Again, right down the middle. I usually have to do 2 swipes so I can get it as close as I possibly can without going through. If you go through, it just makes I don't know, it's just not as nice. Doesn't present as well. And then you put him flat just like that. Now, another thing you can do with hot dogs is you can take a skewer and right through the center of the hot dog, just kind of guide it through there. Careful not to go out the sides. If you do go out the sides, not a big deal. Just pull back on it just a little bit. Get it recentered. And till you get it out the other end. Now you're like, Mike, what are we doing that for? A skewered hot dog? Let me show you. Now you're going to take a sharp knife and you're just going to put it on an angle right on down to the skewer. And you just rotate the hot dog. You can do this in a real tight spiral. You can do it in a loose spiral. You can do all kinds of different stuff just like this. But this gives you a lot more surface area. And it's a very cool presentation. There's not many times I've been to, at all really, except for the ones that I've done, where I've seen a hot dog presented like this. But let me show you exactly what you can do with this guy. Now you take your skewer off. Look at that. Put that down on the grill. You got all kinds of extra surface area. It presents well. It fills a bun. It doesn't take much time, and it's definitely worth the effort. Not so much with hot dogs, but if you're doing burgers or any other kind of meat for the most part, I suggest using a good Spritz. My go-to is just apple cider vinegar. What that's going to do is it's going to give you a little extra flavor. It's going to give you some more moisture and trap the moisture that's there in, but it also brings the surface temperature down so that it attracts more of that smoky flavor. You can use apple juice, you can use, a mixture of butter and pineapple juice, or you can be as creative as you want to be with this. My next tip has to do with if you're using anything sugary, like a barbecue sauce. If you're using a little barbecue sauce, you do it right at the very end. You don't want to put sauces on when you have high heat, because what that'll do is it'll burn. It'll give you a little bit of a bitter flavor. You want to keep those sauces right towards the end of the cook. My next tip really doesn't have anything to do with hot dogs for the most part, because you cook those by sight. But steaks, any other type of meat, remember guys, I know you know exactly what temperature that steak is, but just trust me, you're not some supernatural person with some crazy thermometer finger. You can't get that exact touch. And if you just use a thermopen or some type of accurate temperature device, it's gonna make sure that you cook perfect food. You kind of touch that steak and see how it feels. Oh yeah, that's medium rare. And then you get it and cut it open and it's like, that's not medium rare. It's close, but it's not spot on. With one of these, you're spot on every time. Just break down, get one, and then break down and use it. As we're pulling our hot dogs off the grill, and it's probably one of my most important tips. Put it in an area where you can just let it rest. When you're doing a brisket, sometimes you put the brisket in a cooler. You want to be careful about things like that because you don't want it to continue to cook. So if you've wrapped it in tin foil and you're just trying to keep it warm, that's fine. But just make sure that you let your meat rest. It's going to make sure that it's much more flavorful. It's going to make sure it's much juicier, and it's just going to be a much better experience for whoever's eating. And that's a wrap, guys. I hope that these hacks help you become a better pitmaster. And if you have some hacks of your own, share them in the comments down below so you can help us all out. What's made you a better pitmaster? What lessons have you learned to help us all become better pitmasters? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It means a lot to me that you watched it. If you're not aware, the way that you grow a YouTube channel is by getting more watch minutes. So every minute I appreciate. And if you could do me a favor and share the video with your family and friends via text message or your Facebook wall, that would really mean a lot to me. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.